Happy birthday, Marie.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm so
Happy
mad.
birthday.
I thought you were a Gemini for a second. I was about to resign.
Happy birthday to you.
Rico attracts
Happy
Geminis
birthday
like crazy,
to
but be
you.
so mad.
Because it's like everything that comes to you isn't good.
Happy birthday to you.
But you accept it.
Happy birthday.
I didn't.
Yes, you
No,
do.
I didn't.
Happy birthday.
I didn't accept it.
Oh, I didn't know you was gonna bring it in.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Sing, go ahead. Sing. I feel like you want to get in on it. And we want to give a shout out to one of our. We want to give a shout out to one of our producers, Marie Sejus. What's the rest of it? Ajax.
I was about to say you can't.
I don't know if that last word is Haitian or not, but
It's definitely a cleaning product.
you don't know. Am I saying Ajax wrong?
She says Ajax.
All right.
She's a Taurus.
And Haitians, don't get in the comments talking about I said it wrong, please, because
She's
might
trying.
Be wrong. Yeah,
She's
I'm trying. Also, shout out to the Houston Rockets. We gonna get them next year. We were in the dance for a little bit, this year. But yeah, they practiced like right by my house. I had no idea.
Who? The Knicks or the Rock?
No, the Knicks.
Oh, Westchester.
They do?
Yeah.
Like right, maybe like I think it was like right by my gym, like 5 minutes away. So if some of y'all,
Yeah, I'm coming.
you know what's funny? I went after you made that comment. I went at HomeGoods the next day, and I was actually looking for like stalker looking men. Not stalker, but like people that were like in there not shopping.
This girl sent me a
But it's the females that do that.
DM of
So at HomeGoods?
Yeah, he likes to pick up women at HomeGoods.
Stalker looking men is crazy.
And by
she sent me a
bathrooms at
reel
the
of this
club.
guy making a reel.
We need to break him down real good.
Did you guys hear about, I don't remember
husband is
which
crazy.
country, but like they were shopping at grocery stores, and if you have an upside down pineapple, that means that you want to like find somebody. I don't know if it was Spain, but it's like one of those.
It was a Spanish place. Yeah,
Yes.
I saw it online. Yeah.
That's kind of smart.
So people are definitely trying to find love in public.
Or sex.
I'm gonna go to
Wait,
the
but-
grocery store. Like, do y'all know what this means?
But the pineapple might actually mean they're looking for something
Wait,
serious.
but in certain like places,
Yeah,
but
these are
like
swingers.
yes.
Okay, never
Yes.
mind. Never mind.
You're like,
Never
So they
mind.
need to be in on it.
You heard that, Betty?
Right, and it be them.
We got a new one.
Very true, but you know what? I have quite a few friends who are just kind of like not on the apps anymore. I think they've met like a lot of trash people, or at least people with whom they are not compatible. And so they're just like making more of a conscious effort to like meet people.
Outside.
I don't want to say outside because that has a bad connotation, but just like in places that they frequent. The gym, yoga, Home Depot, HomeGoods,
Pilates.
Pilates, the FedEx store, UPS store. Because you have to exchange all your stuff like that you order from Amazon. I mean, it's pretty smart. Because it'd be all manner of people in there, so.
And they're open to meeting people and having conversations. Because I feel like people that are mainly on apps are just used to that type of interaction. So then when you approach them.
I think that's the problem. That they're meeting people who are not used to like this.
And that's my whole thing about like when you said meeting women at the gym, because that could come off kind of creepy.
Yes.
But it could also be like, well, I know your Instagram and I usually see you there. So like, it's just kind of
It's an art. Yeah.
It's like, do I say hi?
You don't want to. You don't want to. You definitely
Don't be a weirdo.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like
Weirdo-ish.
fucking up their zone. When they're in their zone, you have to be able to sense it. You got to be able to be like, all right, cool.
I agree.
And it can't be a compliment either. That's the thing. Because then, like, not only did they get complimented all day, but now you're in the gym in their safe place, and now they know you're thinking about something sexual. Like, oh, I'm complimenting
Well,
you.
you know what works? Did you play sports?
Yeah. Me?
Duh. Gotcha. Yo.
He's like, what?
Oh,
So you're gonna stay in the gym.
Yo.
I don't.
Yo.
I don't think that a compliment is a bad thing. I don't. I don't know.
you be at the
I don't go
gym?
to the gym.
yeah.
That's
It
why I'm
also
just like,
depends on the
I don't go
compliment
to
too,
the.
because sometimes the
Oh,
compliment.
I
is,
like your form. Nigga, shut up.
Yeah, that's perverted.
nice legs.
That thing moving.
Yeah, that
I'm
is.
telling you what not to say.
You know, but it's
okay.
really depends on who you are sometimes and what you look like, because you might be able to say something and get away with it, and the next guy.
I feel like that thing moving. It's like even if I was attracted to you, like he's
if
one of
Aaron
those.
Pierre told you
no
your
one's
thing
saying
was
that to you,
moving.
Amanda.
What? What?
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
In your 20s, you might think my story of having a baby at 47 has nothing to do with your young life, but let me tell you how every part of it does. I bought into friends with benefit. I did what's called dating beneath myself. That's what my best friend at the time told me. I came from a good family, had my college degrees, had traveled and filled up my passport book, and yet I was dating a weed head. I dated a drug dealer twice. I dated drug dealers. Why would I do that in my 20s? Wasting myself, knowing that these were not husband materials, knowing it was just fun and games. It wasn't until my 30s that I actually started to come correct and work on my personal character. But you don't have to wait to work on your personal character. Don't buy into society norms of it's okay to sleep around. It's okay to smoke weed and drug your body. Having toxic relationships, being around people that make you want to fight, do ugly things. This is how you can waste your time and waste your fertility and wind up not having a baby until far later in life. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Be selective with your heart, your mind, your soul, and your private parts. You live a good life starting today.
What's your first impression from that?
I would say she's speaking from her experience, and I find it really interesting that she said in her 30s that's when things started to click for her, because once you're like 29, 30, that's when you experience your Saturn return. And
What meaning?
so basically the planet Saturn that's moving in the sky will move and be at the same exact place as Saturn in your birth chart. And this is definitely a time of restructure,
Rebirth.
alignment. It can feel like a rebirth sometimes because it's a wake-up call. Mm-hmm. It's a big reality check with people having to realize what's working in their lives and what isn't. And this can be a moment where people grow up. People tend to call Saturn returns your usher or your transition into adulthood. Like that's when you become, a real adult, when you experience Saturn.
So it's not when the bills hit.
I would say there's a big difference from your 30s and your 20s. I will say 20s is definitely a rough decade for life. 20s is definitely a rough decade. But I would say that things might not really fully click until you get to that point. I mean, sometimes it will sooner. Sometimes people have phenomenal Saturn returns, but sometimes people get rocked during their Saturn returns. But it's definitely like moments of realization with, what you want to do with your life. Saturn also is the planet of responsibilities. It's the planet of commitments. This could also be a time where people start to realize, like, am I in the right relationship? A lot of astrologers tend to say that you probably shouldn't get married before your Saturn return. I feel like you can do whatever you want, but there is sometimes moments of realization once you hit your Saturn return, if you are in the right partnership or you're in the right experience for what you want to do in life and how you want to move forward.
So you're saying, just making sure I'm understanding, that a lot of astrologers say you shouldn't get married essentially to about 29, 30 years old?
It tends to be a discourse in the astrology world. I do hear that pretty often, but I would say most astrologers do tend to feel like people should do whatever they want.
Free will.
It's free will, I will say fate will take its course.
Fuck around and find out, essentially.
But I will say there are people that do say that like your level of responsibility and how you view commitment and how you view your life, it does change around that time. So sometimes you might not have that level of full maturity or a fuller maturity to realize that maybe this isn't the right relationship or, why you got into the relationship in the first place. Sometimes people do things based off of impulse, or they may feel like obligation, and obligation is definitely a Saturnian thing. And this can be a moment where we decide to realign in terms of our obligation. What do we want to do? how do we want to live? And sometimes people realize that they might want to quit their job and move across the country, or the person that they've known for their whole life might be the one for them. So it's definitely that moment where you start to have these realizations where you feel like you need to get your shit together.
Which makes sense, and why we have a lot of people complaining about wasting their time in their 20s, and they, like her, they sit there and they reflect at a point where it's like, well, damn, I messed up. And that's why I do also think that we definitely need a solid foundation in that early adulthood, that 18, 21-year-old mark, because you're just experiencing things and you actually don't actually you're not actually thinking about the outcomes, the long-term play. A lot of people, not everybody, of course.
No, that's true though.
Especially like, women like her who are just dating drug dealers and getting high. And now she's saying she's 46 with her
didn't
baby.
say she was getting high.
I think she said
She didn't say
something
that.
about weed.
She said, well,
I think she said they were selling the
selling-
weed.
Oh, okay.
well, she also said for women not to get high and sleep around, which I'm going to assume that's what she was also doing because she was trying to speak from her own experience
I
without
actually
saying
don't
it.
know. Was she just speaking to women?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Because she was her whole thing is about being pregnant, having her first pregnancy over the age of 40.
She's 47 now, right?
Yeah, or 46 or 47.
So she probably had her like 45.
Yeah.
There are some people that are meant to have children when they're older. Sometimes people have them younger. Sometimes people have, children different age ranges in their lives. But you can also see in a chart or get an idea of when people will have their first child. But I feel like she needed to, get that moment of clarity. And Saturn returns are definitely big on that. But the 20s is definitely the decade to kind of fuck up. I mean, you can choose, any time in your life to fuck up, but it tends to happen a lot during your 20s because there's a lot of things going on.
Can you look at my chart and tell me if I got any more kids coming? Because I need to be aware now.
We can do that after the show.
I need to see how many more kids is on the way. Because
Is Saturn return only 29-30? Is it like every cusp?
Every 30 years. So you can have a Saturn return when you're like close to your 90s or in your 90s.
What's the return when it's 39-40 or like 49-50? Is it
It
Saturn?
would be more like 59-60, but yeah, that would be Saturn returning to that same moment. But every planet except Neptune and Pluto can have a return in somebody's lifetime if they live long enough.
Okay. Interesting.
I would say relationships have been going through a lot over the past couple of years.
here specifically,
For sure.
what we're talking about. No, I'm just saying. For
America. Yeah, America
It's actually
specifically.
not just here. That's the thing.
No, I mean like
It is in other
based on the
places.
chart that she's speaking of, she's referencing to here.
I actually never considered this hypothesis, but to consider this from the perspective of like evolution and how it's really survival of the fittest at this point it makes a lot of sense. And I actually do it. I would love to like hear what y'all think, if y'all think that this could be like a turning point in, in evolution, where if you don't have it together, you don't have the skills to get a mate, then you're just gonna be alone and it's gonna be what it is, versus calling it a male epidemic, a loneliness epidemic or whatever.
I feel like that's been always happening, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Like it's always been since like the end of like the beginning of time.
So, and it also made me revisit why people got married in the first place. Because at one point, only men who could provide financially for a family were the ones who had wives. Everybody else was out here wifeless and being a loser. And I think in order to not being a loser, but wifeless. But in order to make sure men had wives, there were certain things that our society was indoctrinated with to sort of support that. Meaning, let me think, it being a part of like the church, or having it to where women could not survive without a man. So that meant now, if you have half the species who can't survive without you, it really increases your chances of having a wife. And so now that these things have changed, it really does speak to like an evolutionary transformation where we are right now. I think that women are probably complaining because it is a lot to deal with, but overall, like, would I give up the ability to have 75% of the rights that men have in order to go back to the bullshit that my grandmother had to be a part of? Fuck no. Like, I don't see why any person with a brain would want to do that. No. I think that you see women complaining and just saying, oh, let me just marry somebody and be done with this. I don't think that women would be willing to give up what has come in the last 60 years or 50 years to go back to being under a man's thumb.
I would say most women, absolutely. There are some women that...
And those are aberrations. Let's not mix the two. Generally, I do not think American women, and even women who have come here and have been a part of our society and may not be necessarily American, I think that they're of the same mindset too.
My sisters, the roosters are coming home. Everything you did is finna come back on you because they have people in place government-wise to show you we used you to destroy the village. Now we really have no use for you no more. Your daddy ain't there. Your husband ain't there. Your son is raised wrong. Your daughter is watching you twerk. You have done what we wanted you to do well in destroying the village. The father of your child is probably in court with you over nothing. You ate from the forbidden tree. You went and used a system that destroys you to destroy your family. And now they have no use for you. Remember all the female black mayors and everything that was happening and all like that?
Yeah.
They ain't got no use for that shit no more. I see the girl. We are the most educated. Yes, they sold you a degree that ain't finna be worth. Yeah. You who have aged out and fell for the sucker shit in destroying your village, your family, and yourselves, the only thing you can do is try to tell your children, don't do what I did. All you women 40, 50, 60, it's over for you. You need to explain to your children, don't do what I did. Don't go around here talking about you don't need a man publicly. Don't go around bashing men for the most part publicly, because all these women who are on the internet for bashing men, there's a record of it, and I think we need to keep a record of these women in case they try to act like they something different later on. I'm talking about the moral people of the world. You have to be aware of these women that's out for self, not for the village, because they are about to find themselves back in the village with the villagers, and the fronting like you rich, the fronting like all this is finna be over. I'm telling you, most of my sisters are broke than a motherfucker, just like most of my brothers are broke. But the sisters was acting like they not broke, holding up drinks on an island that they got there with a buddy pass and all that shit. No, it's finna be time during this administration where this man is literally pouring out all the fish in the pond and letting you see him try to live with no air. He's taking your income away. What jobs do you think will be available for us? When I say us, I'm talking about people of color. What jobs are gonna be available for us in the future? You got to learn how to cook again.
And back to wet nursing.
Say it again.
It's gonna be tough to get a wet nurse job with fake titties. That's bad for the baby.
I just find it very telling that on a portion of what he was just speaking about, we literally 3 to 5 minutes prior to just watched a woman prove his point at 46 or 40 plus years old, trying to tell women how she made the mistake in her 20s and how she has a daughter in her arms, trying to tell all the other women not to be a fool like she was early on at her age. And I mean, this is my own perspective, but I feel like she's dealing with a different amount of stress being in her 40s, dealing with an infant, dealing with a toddler, probably even at one point an infant. And I just find it very telling the fact that we go from that video to this video, and this was not planned because I sent that pregnant video earlier today. Right?
I sent it too. You don't think Alan put that together?
You sent that one too?
Yes.
What, Corey's? Or
Yeah. the pregnant one.
The woman.
you sent the pregnant one?
Yes.
I didn't see it.
I saw that in the chat. I didn't click it.
Let's not.
But I'm just saying, all I'm saying is I just find it very telling that bing, boom, and then there's a ideology, and then there is a real proven example happening in the moment.
I can look at my friend group. Like, all of us cannot be aberrations.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, the hell you can. I mean, if there's a good 10 or 20, I mean, they also say like-minded people tend to ride together. They tend to form, and they have the same, they literally attract themselves, a version of themselves.
So all the deltas, right?
There's
Keep in mind that we were selected to be deltas. We applied. So we all happen to be deltas. Someone selected us. So it's not like we made a decision and we all happen to be deltas and we all happen to be on our shit. Like,
you don't think that makes sense?
No, I don't.
If I was going to form a group and I wanted a certain type of individual, I'm typically going to select the individuals that I think are going to fit that mission or fit that purpose or be in alignment with the morals or whatever the end goal is. So, I mean, I could tell you there's been 50 people on this couch.
But
there's
Rico,
only 4 selected here.
But Rico, the thing, what he's saying is that he said you and Erin or you and Amanda have made good decisions, right? Right. But what I'm saying is that I can look at my friend group, and I really don't have many friends making piss poor decisions like that, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're not the one thing that is common is that most of us went to college together. We're all a part of the same chapter. We're all deltas, right? But the thing is that someone selected us to be a delta. It's not that we went and signed up and we're deltas. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're saying we made the decisions, meaning the consequences are because of what we did.
Well, you allowed yourself to be selected. Just because you get chose doesn't mean you commit. So once you committed and were chosen, yes, you might have been selected, but you also made the conscious decision of saying, you know what, I align with this, whatever it is. It's like I could sit here and say, and I'm just going to Alan's point, I don't know, like I don't have any out of my 5 to 7 friends that I've been friends with for 10 plus years. None of them are deadbeat fathers. 0. And I could be biased in thinking that black, and they're all black, they're all people of color. I could be
Black
biased.
or people of color, they're not the same.
Well, both, right? I could sit here and say, oh, that's not the same. That stereotype of men of color being absent fathers is not realistic. But I have a skewed perspective based on the friends that I've already aligned with my entire life. It took for Esso to come here and try to explain to me, because in my mind, at first, I was like, yeah, every guy's a king. He's like, no, most men are not kings, but I've only been surrounded by them. So for me, I have an entirely different perspective of what life is versus, what everybody else does. I'm not going to be around the peasants. I know we all want to, or Alan specifically also asked you the question of what's your opinion based on your profession on where we're heading in terms of relationships. But prior to that, I just wanted to say, I feel I'm more scared for the women right now in the next 10 years than ever before, because if what is being predicted to happen in this country with this economy, and we're talking about survival of the fittest, we ain't even touched the survival of the fittest yet. When men start acting chaotic, if that was to actually happen, there's going to be a lot of wild shit happening.
What, like them killing each other?
I don't think men are going to target women before they target each other.
Why is that?
Because they know that women are
target them to do what? Like
whatever it is that they're doing, steal from, especially if it's a woman with money or a woman with opportunities, they're going to be an easier target to steal from, to just all of the crimes, which is scary because there's not a lot of men who are going to put themselves on a front line for, especially if there's a small group of them, put themselves on a front line for millions of crazy ass, hungry, thirsty, willing to do anything men. Men.
So, I mean, and perhaps you're right. So I guess my message to women would be stay strapped.
There's not enough bullets.
Go take Krav Maga classes. Stay strapped.
And also, there's gonna be an increase of expats. Like, people are leaving the country.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the big thing that's happening. And a lot of these women have education. They have transferable skills. Men do too. And I feel like it depends on the people, what they're willing to do for themselves. And I feel like there's this level of accountability for the choices and decisions that you make, because anybody can do anything with their lives and anybody can change their lives. I mean, there are men that are in fraternities, and then there's also the YNs. So it's like
they're both the same people, by the way.
No.
They're both the same people, by the way. Just one just looks different. But and my thing is, that's a part of the wake up call, and I'm glad you said that. So I did actually see somebody. I actually seen two different cases, because we were talking about this with Ish once before about relocation and if it was realistic or not. So I saw two different groups of people. One of them was in the country. They actually, I think it was 19 families put their money together somewhere in Georgia and bought, a lot of land and started to rebuild there. I'm not sure exactly where it's gone or how much progress they've made, but I know that they've made that effort, I think 2 years ago. Now there's another man who is gathering people to move out the country. And the funniest thing is like, I have not been all over the world, but I've been in multiple places. And my friends have been in multiple places as well. And the world does not operate like the world here.
For sure.
And so even if you relocate, you're going to face an entirely different beast, which is not going to be what we have here. It's not. So I think that reality is going to set in.
What's going to be different? Like, you mean like...
We got to simulate to the culture.
Like when the lights go out? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm not saying that. It's like...
Talking about your freedoms and your rights.
Yeah, it's not as exactly. You don't have that same freedom, that same luxury to just do whatever you want and make the decision that you ultimately just desire. There's a lot more rules, regulations. There's a lot more strict government and with heavier consequences.
What? So okay, I asked that question, and I should have prefaced it with something else. Are you saying that? What countries are you talking about? Because I think that would help us.
I would say 2/3 of the world.
Okay, well, which 2/3?
Well, we can go with, let's say, Asia, the continent.
But which parts of Asia?
Yeah,
I'm gonna 70% to 80% of every continent that I'm gonna name.
But where are people going? I think you have to look at the patterns right now of where people are migrating to, and then extrapolate that, and then create your statement about like the world being whatever it is. Because if I know that I'm not going to be down with whatever Muslim laws or rules or whatever, I wouldn't go to like a Muslim country. You know what I mean?
That's what's been happening. People are going where they feel the most called to, or that's more accepting of the lifestyle that they're looking at. And astrology can actually help you with that. Mm-hmm. Something called astrocartography. So basically it's kind of a map of the world, and there are different lines that correlate to different planets that tie back into your chart, and that can show you how your experiences are going to look like in different countries. Of course, this looks different for everybody. Yeah. Cool. So I know a lot of astrologers and different people, that have gotten these readings, and they know where they need to go or where they'll be accepted and what experiences that they might have. So they can kind of get an idea of what they're looking at. Plus, I think that there's also some people on Instagram. I know somebody that is going to move to Italy. There's different people that have went through the process of moving to different countries, and now they're helping other people do that too. Mm-hmm. So they're like looking really deep into the laws and people's lifestyles and trying to find somebody's happy medium.
Yeah, but I feel like when we're coming from here, we're coming at such a high. In order to go to some of these places, you have to be willing to give up so much. And
depends where you're going.
Yeah, it does depend, right? But the point is that there's not that many options. And at some point in time, if there was a mass relocation, I don't believe, and this is something that we don't know, that everybody who has, let's just say, let's just use London, for example, right? Which is close to the same culture, Western civilization as us. I don't believe that London would have an influx of 100 million Americans relocating, or even 20 million Americans, or even 5 million, or even 1 million Americans relocating to London.
Got it.
So with that being said, it's like you're still going to run into an issue where it's either you got selected, one of the very few to relocate to an area that is close or similar or has that medium, or you're going to be sacrificing ideologies and or desires in another area and to go to another area. If we were to get to that point, it doesn't exist. This world doesn't exist. When I say this world, I mean this country. This country's world does not exist relatively anywhere. So to take what we have here, unless you are one of the fortunate ones, which is different. If you're somebody who has $10,000 to your name and that's it, you don't have the same luxuries as somebody who doesn't, right? So I think that's something to be taken into consideration. And I think, to agree with Alan, we're about to have a great reset. I wonder if we're in Pluto is in Aquarius, which is the truth, right? We're in the age of Aquarius.
The truth.
As well.
It's, diversity, and diversity is changing. Pluto is transforming that energy. So with Pluto moving through America's third house, the way that communities, the digital spaces, the way that information is distributed and consumed, it's changing. People are becoming more niche. They are finding their tribes. They are trying to figure out where they fit. And I think with a lot of people having so many mindset shifts, because it's going to be a really big thing, a lot of people are going to realize, I have to maybe move to this part of the country and I might have to do this differently, or maybe I just have to leave the country in general. But I will say the way that education and the way that children are going to be taught is also going to be shifting too. And there's going to be a collective shift in technology, AI, but then also ways that people show up in person. And we've been experiencing that already. But we're going to see more changes and shifts as time goes on.
But let's be real. Corey Holcomb, and I actually do like Corey Holcomb, I think he just doesn't like women.
I will say he was talking a lot about women and the faults of women. And women fuck up. But like I said, the guys in the fraternities and the YNs, there's a difference there. Even the first video when she was talking about, the drug dealers and the type of people that, she was around and dated, that was a choice that she made. And sometimes people don't make those choices. Sometimes they do. But also, those men, were they doing certain things to better their lives? Did they have the realization that she had? There are some people, men or women, that it just doesn't click for them. Or maybe they realize it's too late. And I feel like this is a collective experience that can happen for anybody.
It just seems like the conversations are usually fear-based when it comes from men, I'll say. It's like, you better prepare, you better prepare, you better prepare, you better prepare. I was saying prepare.
I know.
Thank you.
You
better prepare, you better prepare. And I feel like on the women's side, from her side, I feel like she's saying, hey, we've gone through so much shit that we aren't moving from fear. We're not moving from fear. We're moving kind of from an abundance standpoint to where hey, we've been through more shit. We can take more shit than you guys are giving us. So that's why I think you guys are missing each other, because she's saying, where are these men? And he's saying, where are these women? Because they're not them. I think that's why you guys are missing each other, honestly.
Well, my good friend Jamie from the CEO of JP Morgan actually just announced recently that we should be stocking up on guns and ammo instead of Bitcoin, which is very insightful to what he predicts this country will become. And if this billionaire guy is telling you that shit's about to hit the fan, I think it's something that we should take into consideration. I'm not saying operate on fear, but I'm definitely saying take it into consideration.
Alan, but you want to know the ironic thing? Your perspective of 2008 is very different because of where you lived at that time. Everything that was happening in Florida, mind you, I lived in Florida in 2008. So everything that I was seeing in Florida, None of that happened in Houston. Not a one. Houston was prospering. Texas was prospering. So when I left Miami, because I've been telling my dad, like, hey, I don't like it here. I'm ready to come home. Like, my dad was like, cool, I'll pay your bills. So you know it wasn't bad if somebody said, oh, I'll pay my bills and your bills. The point that I'm making is that everybody's perspective about that recession is not the same. You got to think, the second largest state and one of the biggest ports, one of the biggest economies in this country did not feel what was felt, I assume, New York, Florida, California. And the thing is that the only reason I can understand what was going on is because I saw it, because I was living in Florida. They had high rises, empty. You know, I'm passing by $600,000-$700,000 houses going to work, foreclosure, for sale, you know what I mean? And so I think I understand your position, but I also think that you have to understand that that wasn't everybody's experience. And so when it comes to preparation, if ain't shit popping here, what am I preparing for?
One thing I will say is they do say that recessions are a good time to get rich or to, capitalize on certain opportunities. And I will say Jupiter is about to move into Cancer within the coming week or so. And Jupiter is the planet of luck, abundance, opportunities, and it loves being in Cancer. This is where it can connect with, real estate, with people, with being able to add more to things. There's like a level of optimism. So even though things can be difficult, people can still make things happen and find like moments of opportunity. I will say, I do think that things are going to collectively get worse, especially in dating, because, dating and families have definitely been a big hot topic for a while now. And when we look
at us, by the way, I
was going to say, when you look at America's chart, this is like everybody. Like, yes, it's us, but like, baby mama, baby daddy culture. I don't even like saying it, but like that culture does not discriminate. Mm-hmm. It is everybody. It's our culture, and
it's American culture.
It is American culture. And one of the reasons why is Neptune, the planet of illusion, things not really being clear and tangible. That was moving through America's fourth house of families, of real estate. This is like a confusing energy. It's where, the lines were like muddled. Things weren't really cohesive. And now that energy is moving into the sign of Aries, where it is now, but it's in America's fifth house, which is dating. It's dating, it's sex, it's children. There are going to be people that are going to idealize certain things and rush into certain things. And I feel like we're going to kind of continue this trend. Of course, there's other factors as well. Chiron is an asteroid. It's also known as the wounded healer, but it can show difficulties, areas of hindrance. And we've been experiencing that in Aries for, I would say, since like 2018, 2019. So that's one of the reasons why there are, these difficulties with, families and dating and people being able to stay together and not to deal with instability within relationships. Uranus was also there. Uranus's sudden changes, things getting erratic, unclear. And I would say America's been, going through a lot when it comes to the realm of families and dating. I would say probably since like 2008-ish, probably. Like around that time, more or less. Neptune stays in the sign for about 7 years. And it's going to move back into Pisces for a couple months from September into February of next year. So we are going to experience some changes when it comes to dating. And I feel like people are going to find new ways to connect with each other. But I feel like there's going to be an increase of selfishness and also an increase of independence. Like people are going to realize, I don't really need this, or I can get what I need out of dating and maybe leave the rest. And I feel like it's going to be like that for men and women. I would say I actually made a post on Instagram, and I predicted for Saturn moving into Aries, there's going to be more gender division. Saturn is obstacles, it's difficulty, it's challenges. And with that being in the realm of dating and sex, more people are going to be celibate. A lot of people might not notice this when it comes to Aries, But when it comes to Mars ruled signs, which is Aries and Scorpio, Mars tends to rule over like celibacy. You know, the warrior uses his energy instead of depleting it through sex to continue to fight and to move forward and to survive. So a lot of people are going to start, you know, practicing more celibacy. And that was even a trend a couple years ago when it came to the North Node moving into Aries. We just had that leave. I think it was just this past January. It was there for about a year and a half. And that's when we realized the divide within relationships. So the South Node, what we're kind of moving away from, you know, relationships, partnerships, things that are self-sacrificial or things that don't make us feel good, but we're doing it because of the image or because of obligation. And a lot of people are moving towards independence when it comes to relationships. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of women or just relationships in general started to break up, because people are starting to realize, why am I really here? Do I actually want this? And I think that people are going to be more strategic when it comes to relationships and more mindful. But I would say if people aren't trying to become better partners or trying to really understand the person that they're trying to connect with, it's going to be difficult to find somebody.
And you said the key point. It's about being a better partner. And many of us, y'all have been able to get along in life without being a good partner.
I would say because of the obligation that women have felt. And, you know, even when it came to conditioning, you know, you're taught to be a woman, and a woman is to cook and clean and to do all these things. But women are starting to realize, you know, maybe that's not what I really want in this lifetime. Maybe I want to pursue my dreams and my goals. And I would say most people collectively are going to be doing that. But I think that some people are going to realize that, you know, maybe I don't want this ideal image of a relationship. Maybe I want to have my own experiences. And Pluto in Aquarius is going to be really transformative over the next 20 years because people are going to start choosing themselves and choosing their own paths and how they want to live their lives.
Have you ever taken the time to look at, I guess, what the alignment of the planets were during maybe like the 90s or the 80s? Like, have you ever went back in time and not like
yes and no, but yeah, for sure. And sometimes not sometimes,
like
but
maybe during the baby boom era was like, that would be kind of insightful.
I can try to take a look now. I would say we actually are probably going to experience a baby boom this year with Jupiter moving into Cancer, because this is birth. This is new things coming into fruition. This is going to be an influx of people wanting to have real estate, to settle their roots, to build, and to even have families. Of course, people are going to be going after the things that they care about, but people are also going to realize that they're going to, you know, want to extend their families or to build and experience more than just themselves and just to have better connections. But I would say the astrology in the 90s and the 80s were very interesting. I would say the astrology in the 90s were really big when it came to things being built and coming into fruition. This is when, you know, the internet was born. This is where people found different ways of connecting with each other. This is where people found different ways of being able to make money and to live in a world where you were only told that things had to be one way. And of course, you know, land of the free, home of the brave. But we all kind of felt like there was a certain way of needing to live. And I would say the 90s really kind of set things apart where it's like, oh, I can be this or I can be that.
Yeah, Alan, so that's where we differ. Because I was born then.
You wish.
I wish I was born in the 90s.
Well, you said 90s?
Yes, it was 90s.
Oh.
That's the square in your chart.
You said no, right?
That there's squares?
Yeah.
There's a square.
In mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squares aren't bad. I have squares.
Could the
Shouldn't he ask that?
Could the epidemic of male loneliness be attached to what you were saying as far as the men preserving themselves for kind of like the long haul? Could that be attached in any way?
I would say
No.
I would say men might not be preserving themselves as much, but I feel like everybody is going to kind of preserve themselves or wanting to at least experience more independence. But I would say the male epidemic wouldn't really be because of that. I would say it might be because people wanting different things and maybe being more selective in dating and also wanting to really know what they're getting into. And I would also say people are going to be leaving situations more easily than they used to before. Sometimes people, way back when, they would have to stay in relationships that weren't good for them because of obligation or a need to have certain, luxuries in life or certain things, resources. Yeah. And now there's not really that much of a need to be bound to somebody because of those resources anymore, just because, women have more resources than they used to. And I feel like people are going to just be choosing more of what they want. And there will be a little bit of selfishness collectively. Like people are just going to be going after what they want and not really considering as much of what other people might want. But the selectiveness will help create families and situations that'll be built more to last instead of feeling like, okay, I'm going to be with this person, but like, I don't like it, but I don't know how to leave because of X, Y, and Z. People are going to be choosing who they want to be with, and they're going to, be in the right partnerships, or at least if they aren't in the right partnerships, they're going to be more open to leaving than staying.
So essentially less settling.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think there will be a transition into like more egalitarian relationships?
I would say relationships are going to start looking a little bit more
gray.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of a natural transition, especially with the astrology that I mentioned. There's going to be like, more common law marriages. There's going to be more people finding different ways of committing to each other that might not be, legal, or just finding like legal, in the eyes of the law. But I think that people are going to realize that they can still have a partner without having to make things official in different ways.
Yeah, like a religious marriage instead of a legal marriage.
Yeah.
Do you think the world will lean towards more like one man, two women, poly?
I would say poly relationships definitely will happen, even on both ends. Like more women are going to be exploring more things, more men are going to be exploring more things. I feel like people aren't going to be under as much scrutiny as before because people are going to live in ways that are going to be more free. But the people that actually want a commitment, they'll have that commitment, or, that commitment can look different. Like it could be a polyamorous relationship with, one man, two women, or one woman and two men, like it can look so many different ways with whoever, whatever their jam is, whatever they want. But I do think that relationships are going to look different. And I'll be honest with you, it's interesting because I think that there was this random statistic that said that more people are going to be having sex with like robots and stuff.
People are having relationships.
People are getting robots. People
are having relationships with AI.
They are. They're having AI relationships, and they're breaking up with AI. And
my AI is disrespectful as fuck, bro. Or my ChatGPT, I should say.
I want
your AI.
Huh?
Like a filthy robot. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Well, you'll probably be able to build your own robot.
That's enough
soon,
out of you.
You'll be able to build your own robot.
Like, tie me up.
Hey, whatever I'm into, that robot's gonna do.
You'll soon be able to build your own girlfriend. Build your own partner.
No, I do think that's really going to start happening soon.
So it sounds like what we know to be traditional relationships is just done.
It's not done.
It's not done.
It'll still be
still
there.
in the present.
Sure.
It'll still be there. It's just there's going to be more things that are going to be coming up that are going to be very different, but it's going to be what people are going to be looking into. And of course, there's going to be different kinds of markets for different kinds of things. Like these super realistic sex toys seem to be popular, So I think that people are going to find whatever they're looking for, and things are going to get a little bit more taboo. And what was once taboo was going to become accepted. So that's already been happening, but like it's going to get pushed even further. Mm-hmm. But this is going to give people that want to be in relationships and having, solid ground to have that, and to also allow people that don't want that to not want it.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
With where things are heading, from a human standpoint and an astrology standpoint, plus the energies that be from a state to state perspective and a country perspective, are they going to be, is that like going to conflict each other?
I would say there are going to be, people in different states that are going to be wanting to live different experiences. I feel like we've already been dealing with that, but I do feel like men and women are going to have more difficulty seeing eye to eye. I will say, if they do and they're willing to work on it, it will get better. But generally, it'll be more difficult to like communicate and to really understand what the other wants or what they're looking for. It's been going on for a while now, but it's going to get harder for a while.
Like
for years, couple years.
Florida, we know has been kind of like, I guess, like different from the rest of the world, right? And in terms of the people who are essentially trying to input new laws and whatnot, the government there. Mm-hmm. So my question essentially is do you know Florida's chart?
I don't know Florida's chart. I do know Miami's chart, but one thing I will say is that there are going to be more rules and regulations when it comes to like birth control and dating and things being maybe a little bit more difficult to either procreate or not procreate. It's going to be kind of like those opposite ends. And that's why people are probably going to be more celibate, because of not having as many options. But I don't know Florida's chart.
Okay.
So I'm hearing dystopian.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately. But yeah, I think that we've kind of been there and now it's going to be turned up. Things are definitely going to get a little bit more dystopian, more muddled. Reality and, life as we know it is definitely shifting for the better, but also there's going to be some crazy shit happening. So I think that people need to stay true to who they are and what they want and not get caught up in the shit. I mean, if they want to explore other things, but I do think that we are in a day and age and, even as time goes on, it's going to be so important to be grounded in what you want and your values and things of that nature.
I have a question that's completely off topic.
Yeah.
So do you think or believe that our parents could be like not in alignment with their children, or are they always in alignment to some degree?
I would say there are times where parents aren't in alignment with their children, and it can be seen in a chart. I've seen charts where, parents could be jealous of their children, or they could maybe not have wanted children, but they had a child anyway, so there could be some resentment. But I also have seen charts with people, having amazing relationships with their parents. The sun rules over, the father. Saturn is how you're disciplined, and the moon is the mother. And of course, this could be like maybe the more disciplinary parent or the more nurturing parent. The houses also correlate to that as well. And you can see how your relationship with your parents shape you as a person, as you continue to go about life through your chart.
I'm gonna send you my kids' charts. We like this though, but I'm gonna send it to you anyways.
I mean, you could definitely see like different themes, and also, like I said before, the planets continue to move and different things are being activated. So sometimes certain charts are being positively activated when it comes to a parent-child relationship, and you can see, maybe more traveling, more experiences, better connections. And sometimes there are some difficult, things that are being activated between a parent and a child. And they could maybe have more disagreements, more arguments, even some separation.
I got some charts for you.
We're going to move on to Ask Amanda. We should have like a segment changed, like jingle or something. Okay, let's see what this week we got. Okay. I'm getting married soon and I'm facing a heartbreaking situation. I was raised primarily by my mom. She worked hard, gave up a lot, and did the best she could. My father was in my life, but he was not consistent. However, my paternal grandmother was also very involved. She helped raise me and kept a connection between me and my dad's side of the family, even when he wasn't around. Over the last few years, my father has tried to show up more, and I've slowly rebuilt a relationship with him. I would like both of my parents to feel included on my wedding day. I decided I wanted my dad to walk me down the aisle. When I told my mom, she was hurt. She said it felt like a betrayal after all she sacrificed. Then she gave me an ultimatum. If he walks you down the aisle, I won't be at your wedding. I feel torn. I understand her pain. Truly, I do. But I also don't want to erase the other parts of my story, even the complicated ones. I don't want to look back and feel like I made this choice out of guilt instead of love. Amanda, what do I do? That's so cute. Did they really say that?
It was Marie.
It was Ask Amanda.
They never put my name in there. He said it was Ask Amanda.
Oh my God.
I think moms is tripping. Yeah, I understand her pain. I don't really understand that there's like a pain though. I would hope that she would be like happy for the rebuilt relationship with her and the father, because it didn't say that he was like completely absent. Like just, I don't know what the reason for being in and out and not consistent was, but you know, she was still close with his side of the family
Because of the grandma.
because of the grandmother.
Because of her daddy.
I know, but it's not even the mother's job to walk the bride down the aisle. So I don't know why she feels like something was taken from her.
Because she's played the masculine role in raising the child by herself.
For the most part, but she could still have a role in the wedding.
Oh, I
but
agree.
that part can still be his.
I think that
I don't think that
resentful.
I don't think that the ultimatum should have been given.
I think if there's someone who should have had a role, it should have been the dad. Meaning, oh, you know how somebody's not in your bridal party, but you still want them to be involved, you make them an usher, something like that. But I can understand the mom's like hurt feelings. She's like, he wasn't around, I was around, I did, you know, I moved mountains to raise you. But then he waltzes in a couple years ago, and now you want to give him the place of the person that did all the hard work. So I can understand her being mad. Maybe not giving an ultimatum. Not even mad, I'm sorry. I can understand her giving an ultimatum. I don't understand her giving an ultimatum, but I understand her being hurt. And I understand how when people are hurt, they do stuff like that, you know?
I understand what you're saying, because also you are right. She was the one that primarily raised her. She should be the one to give her away. I do get that. And the father should be the person to have the other role. Whatever other role he is able to play in the wedding, he could do that. But if you're that hurt by it, like, I raised you, I should be the one doing this, you would want to be there. I think giving the ultimatum is just...
She's not there. She wants to walk her child down the aisle, right? I just want to make sure.
No, but the ultimatum was that if the father does it, she's not showing up.
At all. She won't be there.
But it's just like, if you're that hurt because you know the role that you played in your daughter's life, you want to be there. So don't give the ultimatum for there to be an option for you not to be there at all.
Did they in the story, because I didn't follow that part, did they in the story say when the mom and dad broke up?
No. That was
so she could have been carrying this bitterness for how long till she got married? Is that what you're saying? Like, she could still be bitter and the child's now married? They could have bitter about
the dad?
Yeah.
About him not
But
being
that's
there,
not the point of the story. The breakup, their breakup.
The story.
No, well, their breakup isn't.
Y'all do this with these women and like, oh my God, yo.
But hold on. That's not.
Oh my God.
The mother and the father's relationship isn't the point of the story. The daughter and the father's relationship is the point of the story.
Why is the daughter and the father's relationship that way? Were things put
because
in that
he was
man's ear?
absent. He wasn't
Why
consistent.
Was he absent? Why did he have an opportunity to be
so
consistent?
you're saying that the mother has to be the reason?
More information left out by the woman writing into the Ask
that
Amanda.
you would like to add in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we have to take into consideration the fact that there is something high. There was a very, very prominent fact that was stated here, is that she wants her father to do it. which means that there is a relationship or a desire between her and her father that surpasses the desire of the mother to walk her down, although the father was not there for whatever reason that is.
Does it say?
So make a decision.
No, I think, in my opinion, from what I've actually seen, as long as the father isn't like a terrible person, I mean, he might not be a responsible one. There might be things that might have happened. I'm not making an excuse for him, but when it comes to a father and a daughter, it's so hard to get in between that, even if there's distance. As a mother, as a outside party, doesn't matter who you are. When that daughter, especially if she never feels wronged by him, other than the fact that he might have not been there at times.
Other than the fact that he wasn't there.
Like,
yeah, like what I mean.
Big fact.
Well, no, like there's.
It's like, he was a good guy, except he was a pedophile.
There's way worse. And she also probably understands because she's lived with her mother, so she understands how her mother is, and she could probably say, "Hey, listen, I'm not even gonna add it." But what I'm gonna say is that
He's at it.
All right, so
No, I think add it.
So if a daughter, this is my opinion, if a daughter still craves that desire from her father, even though he was not there consistently, she lives with her mother. She understands who her mother is as a person and as a woman, and she understands the difficulty that her mom could have played, or that role that she could have played with her father, which could have led to the distance, could have led to the separation, and she now sees her mother's flaws. Now, if the father may have been distant at times, but he was still there to some degree, and he's never
That's not what it said.
I just like y'all. I just
But
want
it
y'all
also
to keep
said
the
that the
story
grandma
like
was keeping it
That's-
together.
yes,
Yeah.
That
like,
part of the
let's
family.
stick with the
But
facts.
even if so even if the
of
grandma
the
was keeping it
situation.
together, the fact that it is together, right? Like even if we're not taking accountability from him not being there. That is actually a very minuscule thing to what is being prompted.
Him not being there is minuscule?
To this, yes.
Basically, he's
because
saying
she's
that
overriding
not
it
saying that
herself.
that's as important.
Yeah,
But I do see that she's caught in between.
She's really not caught in between because she's really leaning to one side. She
want a decision. Hold your nuts and make an ultimatum. Either your mama gonna be there or your daddy gonna be there. Period. And
Which is
you
fucked
deal
up.
with it. No, it's not.
It is. Why are you
It's
putting your
not fucked
child
up.
in that position?
at her marriage.
No, this is I agree with that. This is supposed to be like the happiest day of her life.
Who on here is married?
Who wants? But
Who on here is married?
I'm
That's
married.
all I- that's all I gotta say.
I'm married.
Yeah,
to
but
the
you
man
have a
above.
different kind of attitude, so we can't really trust your
do you mean
judgment
different kind of
100%.
I'm married to this story, so
In the end of the day, like my parents are not married. There's been drama my entire life, but my dad has always been there, and my mom is who she is. You know what I'm saying? But I have a relationship with my dad. If my daddy was sorry and wasn't around, you don't get the privilege of walking me down the aisle.
But
That
was-
is a
was he sorry, though?
hold on. He wasn't there. I'm sorry. If you don't raise your kids and you're not there, you sorry. You sorry. You a sorry motherfucker. That's what you are. You understand? So if you are not there and you got a relationship 2 or 3 years ago, cool. He should be a part of it. He should be there. But I think if you were so set in wanting him to walk you down the aisle, cool. Let that be your choice. Sit in it. Be comfortable with it. And be okay with your mama not being there. That it is what it is. Like, we're making a whole bunch of excuses. You're an adult. You're getting married. You want your daddy to walk you down the aisle? Let him do it. But it's to the expense of your mother not being there.
which should
She's entitled to her feelings.
still
She's
wrong.
entitled to being hurt after she done moved mountains and did X, Y, and Z for you. Period.
Could the father say the same thing?
What mountains did he move when he wasn't there?
You don't know why he wasn't there.
I
The
think
mother might not
everybody's
have been
entitled to
there.
how
We
they
don't
feel,
need
but
to
still,
know.
she needs
You
to make
never
a
need to.
decision.
We don't need to
Don't
know.
need
based on what
to
she
know.
wants.
You're right.
You don't need to know because end of the day, I'm sorry, maybe y'all daddies are different, but it ain't no woman, my mama included, who was gonna keep my daddy away from me.
Whatever
That's
the
true,
reason
too.
is just an excuse. It could have been the mother and the breakup. It could have been anything. But he chose not to be around his kid. That's on him. It doesn't matter why.
So you
Can
got
somebody keep you from your kids?
No.
Thank you.
But
that's the end.
dangerous.
Not all men are like that.
Not a lot of men are dangerous. I'm dangerous. So there's a big difference between me
No,
and
it's
the
not.
Yes, the hell it is.
If you are somebody, if you want to be with your kids, you will make it happen.
Here's
true.
the eye-opening fact is this. She still wants her father there, which means whatever her mother has done wasn't enough. Which means
that's not what it means.
What do you mean? Whoever her mother is to her wasn't enough. Because if you're looking at it from a perspective, which I can understand. Now, if you didn't raise your child for whatever reason, I don't co-sign with you. I do think that you're a lame ass individual.
He could have been an usher.
But what I'm saying is that child or adult has a relationship with that father that has not been fully explained here, but it is very telling that the relationship is strong enough for her to consider her own mother not potentially being at her wedding who was there.
And I think that's the thing. I don't disagree with you. I think if that feeling is so strong, you feel so strongly about your daddy being there.
Stick to it.
Let him be there.
And,
Yeah.
and it's going to be to the exclusion of your mama. Then make your choice and stand in it. We don't want to hear about, well, maybe the mom did this, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? You make a decision because that is what adults do. I can guarantee you at my wedding, if I said, if my mama didn't agree with my choice, baby, it's your choice to be there or not. Because you know what's going to happen? The wedding's still going to go on. That's what's going to happen. So, old girl, you need to make a decision and stick by it. And if that changes the relationship with your mama, then so be it because that is a choice you made.
And the choice she made too.
Well, okay.
And I think that she has way more respect for her mom and her upbringing to not have her mom not be at the wedding, to be honest.
That's why she's
who has never
deliberating.
been married. What are you talking about? What respect?
No, because
She's
the beginning
leaning towards the
she's
side
no,
of her
but she's
fucking dad.
well, she first of all, before she said that she decided she wanted her father to walk her down the aisle, she said that I want both of my parents to be included on my wedding day.
Of course.
So it doesn't have to be that role, but she started off this whole situation telling us that she was raised primarily by her mom and that her mom worked hard, gave up things, blah, blah. Like she knows everything that her mom did for her.
She's trying to justify her mother's reasoning for giving her an ultimatum, although she's still on the fence. And even with all that she's did, there's still this other side of the spectrum that she's still leaning towards or still caught in between that has enough force to keep her from absolutely going with her mother's ultimatum.
I think it's the fact that she didn't have a daddy. So now daddy's around. You're going to crave that. She's been craving for daddy.
I was about to say, I think that she wants that father walking her down the aisle.
She wants that experience. She doesn't want to miss out on it.
She just wants that experience and she's not thinking about what that would mean for her mom.
It couldn't be critical thinking.
What do you mean?
There's no way that she could have seen, like he said, what has gone on with her and her mother in the relationship, and seen like, okay, there could be another side to the situation, and that's why she kept the relationship with her father, and now she's making a decision as an adult.
But if it's important, why she didn't include that? Because what she did include was that my mama did this, my mama did that, my mama did this, my mama did that. And I love her and I appreciate her for it. Mm-hmm. But if that was important, why didn't she include it?
He probably didn't tell her the story. Most men don't tell their kids the story, their side.
No, but what y'all are saying is that she saw something, right? Mm-hmm. She knows something about the relationship that her mom had with her dad.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. She knows the relationship that she's had with her mother.
Exactly.
But what does that mean? My mama don't act with me like she acted with my daddy. I don't act with my husband like I act with Amanda or my brother. These are totally different relationships. Why would she, if she's a fucking nutcase, if she thinks that her relationship with her mom is going to similarly reflect her mom's relationship with her daddy.
She may have never seen her mom with a man. To be honest,
that's what I'm saying. So she shouldn't even have an idea.
So she's only had the idea of who her mom has displayed that she is to her. She doesn't have a comparison to say, okay, all right, maybe I had another man in the house, whether my mother was.
We don't know that.
Yeah,
we don't know that. That's not in the story.
Well,
she just said that her dad wasn't around. We don't know if she's never seen her mom date another man. We don't know that.
Well, we also don't know a lot of other things that we're assuming too.
I'm not assuming shit. That's y'all.
We are assuming that he was never there, primarily, and never there.
She said that he was not consistent.
That does not mean never there. That could
We never said
And that was never out of here.
Yes, you've made it all seem like he was never there. Inconsistent can mean once a month.
Girl, let your daddy walk you down the aisle and then you deal with your consequences later. That's all I gotta say. Because we going back and forth over some bullshit and over like facts or instances that y'all just interjecting into this story that are not even relevant nor are they true. So clearly you want your daddy to be there. You don't want to make him an usher. You don't want to make him like a flower bearer or whatever the fuck the little boys do. Like you want him to be the star of the show.
Now he's a star. Of the
No, it is the star of the show.
No, that is.
No,
Hold
you
on.
are the star of the show because you know who walks. First of all, we're gonna say traditionally the bride is the star of the show. What person walks with the star of the show?
The woman that raised her.
No. What, no.
Go with your mom.
What person?
Go with your mother, yo.
Oh, so nobody want to answer now? Who?
Go with
The
your mother.
father usually does it.
Thank you. So now you want to give him that. Cool. That's what he want to be. Cool. Do it. Because you have so much conviction.
Well,
I
he's
think
passing
that-
her,
And you deal with your choices.
he's passing her to the next man, which is what he's supposed to do.
Passing her for what? He wasn't even there to like when my daddy like walked me down the aisle, he was confident in what my husband was gonna be able to do and provide. My daddy literally told me, he said, I was never, because I've always lived away from Houston. He's like, I never felt comfortable or safe with you being somewhere in another state, in another city until you were married. He said, while you were living this place and that place, I never had a good night's sleep. And he was also binging on, was it 24 hours or whatever that crime show is? The first 48, yeah. No, he was. Like when I was living in Miami, he would be like scared shitless. I was like, Daddy, I live in a nice area. It's okay. But anyway, what I'm saying is that if it really means that much to you, then make your choice. Don't be writing in us. Girl, you know what you want to do. Just make your choice. Because at the end of the day, you know how easy of a choice this is? And when you look at the grand scheme of life, this is what you choose to write in about.
Her emotions are getting in the way,
Amanda,
though.
was she asking who should she choose? What was the actual
It's
question?
not. Make your decision, child. Make it.
She said, okay, what did
You know
she
how many
say?
tough decisions we make?
She really just said, Amanda, what should I do? But she said she doesn't want to erase other parts of the story, even though she feels like, I don't want to look back and feel like I made this choice out of guilt instead of love. Well, what is there to feel guilty about?
I think
What is the
guilty about
question?
the
The
mom.
question is just what you should do.
What should she do? Because her mom gave her an ultimatum. So what should she do?
Oh, okay.
I think she needs to do what she feels called to do, ultimately. Like, it is uncomfortable to be in a situation like that, and I think she's writing because, like, emotionally, she's caught in the middle.
She's definitely a Capricorn.
She's definitely caught in the middle, and it's uncomfortable.
I wouldn't, to be honest, if I was her, giving the facts that I was giving from this story, I wouldn't feel caught in the middle because I was raised by my mother primarily. I grew up with my mother. I am now rebuilding a relationship with my father. That is an easy choice for me. My mother is not going to be at my wedding.
But I feel like it's also because
That's
Like,
hold on.
I agree
That's
with
what
you.
was said.
She said she.
That's
I
what
agree
was
with you.
said. Hold on. Let me find the
says
sentence.
rebuilding?
She says, over the last few years, my father has tried to show up more, and I've slowly rebuilt a relationship with him.
And few is 3. Just FYI.
Yes.
Few is 3.
Over the last few years, she could be an idiot, and it could mean 5 for her.
Okay, 5. 3, 5. Still.
I think that she's trying to, like, catch up on what she missed out on. And it's like, yeah, she forgave him or she's building this relationship. I feel like maybe this is like her gesture of like having things be what it should have been, but it's like a complicated feeling. But I do feel like her mom did so much for her, and that's why she's like, she does need to be there. I think that them both being there is good. I feel like trying to see if there's like a compromise, but it seems like she wants him to walk him down the aisle. Like, is there somebody else that could walk her down the aisle?
I feel like tell your mom that the ultimatum is just not going to work, and you guys will all be a part of the wedding. some way, somehow.
Both walk her
So
down.
you're talking about compromise.
That's a good idea, though. Both walk her
But
down.
The mom is so prideful that she
I'm
won't.
okay with
That part.
The mom is so
I'm
prideful
okay with
she wouldn't even
compromise.
ultimatum.
I don't think we're understanding that this is a bitter woman here.
That part.
And I'm not saying that she's not justified for how she feels being whatever she may have had to endure it. But that does not mean that her ego should take the sole show of her wedding. Her mother's ego
I
is
said that
basically
from the
like
beginning,
it's
though.
either all me or
Yeah, there's
nothing.
resentment.
And it's not even her Mother's Day, which
That
is
part.
nuts to me.
She's centering herself in her child's wedding.
No, she's not centering herself. The child has the ability to make the decision.
But it's still a hurtful
Shouldn't have been a
decision.
decision, though.
Man, y'all crazy.
She's gonna be hurt regardless.
Hey. Who married over here?
We all are.
All right, whatever. Fuck out of here. All I gotta say is that
I have a religious marriage.
We make tons of difficult decisions on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Girl, make your decision, stand on it, and deal with whatever the consequences that come with it.
And let us know.
Also, she should be mindful of why she really wants him to walk her down the aisle. Is it because she wants the experience? Is it because she wants to continue to build the relationship and want it to be strong and feeling like that would be that? I think that it's really important for her to understand why.
Yeah.
Well, I feel
She
like if
feels
she
this way.
wouldn't, if she's not even confident in that like relationship, then him walking you down the aisle, what does that mean to you?
That's true too, because that's something that you're going to think about for the rest of your life.
She said inconsistent, not non-existent. And I think that we don't have a actual tangible understanding of what inconsistent looks like.
No, but
We
even
Rico.
though
We don't mean
but
us.
even though she said that, she said over the last few years he's tried to show up more in her adult life, which means he was absent enough in her growing up that she didn't have that relationship with him.
We also don't know her age. She could be 21, right? So
Adult life.
okay, so if in the
Adult
last
life.
few years, if he came in at 18 to 21, right, it's still very young enough for her to be like, all right, this is a good portion of her life.
This is the making up shit.
What I'm saying is we don't know. It's not, I'm actually the one not making it up. I'm actually saying we have.
So if we don't leave that in the unknown,
Can you
leave
ask your
that in the
people-
unknown.
Can you ask your people to write both sides, Amanda?
What do you mean?
Marie? Can we get both sides of the story next time?
Yeah, like I need to know what inconsistent means.
Of course not.
Can you give your side of the story so that they have the whole thing? Is that what she's supposed to say?
I'm talking about the dad side. I ain't talking about the mom side. The mom's clear. I'm going to be bitter and ruin your day.
Why would we need his side?
Why would we? Exactly. Why would we need somebody else's
The
side?
mom is the
Crazy.
one. The mom is the one giving the ultimatum. So why would we need the dad side of the story?
Because y'all are saying that inconsistent and non-existent are the same thing.
No, we didn't.
We never said
We
that.
I literally
Roll the
just said
tape?
they're not the same.
Roll the tape,
Roll
chat.
the tape. Roll a beautiful beam footage. Because ain't nobody say that shit. Did you say it?
No.
Did you say it?
I know I didn't say it.
He had to argue you down to admit that. That's what he just did.
No, he didn't.
You're right.
Yeah. And it ain't gonna be that many times when I'm not right.
What?
So
He argued with who? To admit what? Who admitted what?
You're right.
I know.
We did speak about if the father was not there, you a sorry ass motherfucker.
yes.
That's
so
true.
that was in reference to this, which
But
means
that doesn't mean that doesn't mean what you're saying.
I'm just saying that was in reference and response and rebuttal to this topic, which means for someone, I'm just gonna say myself, I won't speak for everybody, that is the idea of what inconsistent meant to you. Now, if that isn't, then okay. But when I hear that response with these facts that she said, I'm going to assume that inconsistent and non-existent is the same. For your understanding.
they're
If
not.
okay.
They're not, and no one ever said that.
This is like, I feel like I'm home.
I don't know. Words have meanings, and I don't misspeak. Like I use specific words because I want a specific scenario to be explained. No one has said that he was not there at all. The girl literally said it in her story or her whatever this is, her writing and her letter. Ain't nobody say that the dude wasn't there.
Because why?
Or like for it
what
to
made him
like
sorry then.
leave an impact.
If you
Like she was
inconsistent, you're
impacted.
sorry.
I think
Period.
I think we just got a great. Can you say that again?
What?
If my daddy was in the
sentence?
he gonna be
Not
sorry
you.
in my book.
Oh.
Just say that when no one's talking. I just want you to just interject that for it. He could have did what?
he could have left more of an impact on her, like by like being there more consistently. And I feel like she was affected, and I feel like that's why she's trying to get back those years, because that's what it's giving. Like, she wants to reconnect. And like, it's good that she did talk about how her experience with her mom went and what her mom did for her. And she should reflect on the fact that like her mom is important and does deserve to be there. And that's why she's writing, because she's confused. And I think that she should try to find a way to have them both incorporated in it, but also make her own decision. Like, if she really wants him to be there, understand the consequence and lead with it. Do what you want ultimately, but it's important to understand why you're making this decision. America is a Sagittarius rising. So basically the Sages. So every person, everything, every country, nation, it all has a chart. So basically when somebody's first born or when something is first initiated, it encapsulates a moment in time. And this creates a birth chart. The time is very important because it maps out the whole energy of the chart. Mm-hmm. So
the time of what?
Birth.
Of when the birth or conception, like when something's created.
Like us, when we were born?
Yes, absolutely.
Or entities.
Yeah.
Businesses.
So like a business, a country formed, a product made. It all has a chart.
So who timestamped the creation of America?
A Gemini.
I think his
Like,
name,
how does one know?
America has a couple. Yes.
No, but like the time.
So basically, I think it was after they agreed, and I think that they signed the declaration, they like recorded the time.
Okay, so that's the time that they use.
Yeah.
Not
I'm assuming. There's a few different times though, but the Independence Day is the most popular one.
Yeah.
Or at least the generally accepted.
Yeah,
Okay.
typically. But basically, with America being a Sagittarius rising, a lot of people have talked about America going through its Pluto return. So Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn for years. Now it's in the sign of Aquarius, and it's in third house energy. So basically, the third house is your environment. Okay. It's like the houses are the areas of life. The planets are kind of the characters. And then the signs are the energies that the characters express themselves through.
Okay.
So if you think about like an actor playing a certain kind of role or like a certain genre and like where that setting is, like if you put that together, it's kind of that energy of astrology.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the planets are the who, the signs are the what, and the houses are where.
Oh, wait, the planets are the who?
Mm-hmm.
Say it again, the rest of it.
The planets are the who, the signs are the what,
Okay.
and the houses are the where.
Okay.
And what made you get into astrology?
I feel like it was always in my life. You know, growing up, I always used to read the magazines. I always used to really tap in with my horoscope. I'm not going to say what my sign is.
Can we guess?
Yeah. You guys want to guess?
What can
Are you gonna say if
we
we're
each
right?
have a hint, though?
No hints.
No. I mean, we're going to ask a question as a hint.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
ask questions.
Ask a question as a hint.
Yeah, like that would lead you closer to the answer.
Anyways, would you mind sharing to our audience your name, your Instagram or social media handles, you know, things that you have going on that you would like to, shout out to them?
Well, my name is Benedicatta. I'm an astrologer, tarot reader, psychic. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. I am located in northern New Jersey. My Instagram is at BCLAASTRO. I have the same handle on Instagram. On YouTube, it's BCLAASTRO LLC. I do one-on-one readings. I also host private events. So I do corporate functions, baby showers. Yeah. Bridal showers. I do just about everything. So if you have like a product launch or something you want to bring into fruition and you want somebody that will create a memorable experience, a lot of my clients tend to remember me far after. But I'm definitely here for all of those things. I'm also working on workshops. I've done a few things already, and I'm just trying to spread intuitive knowledge and also to help people understand themselves better and the world around them, and to help people through difficult experiences, but also the people that are experiencing abundance to scale that abundance and to make sure that they're bringing in more.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's actually cool.
thank you.
Alan was saying this before. which I also agree, and I also heard it before. But they also say that millionaires, I guess they just, I don't know, study business, but billionaires study astrology. I actually met somebody, and he had just secured a $400 million deal, and he was looking on bringing, I forgot exactly which zodiac sign, but it was a zodiac sign, and then also a rooster, a Chinese zodiac, as well as a.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he was looking for a specific person to bring in that had a specific zodiac sign and Chinese zodiac sign.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize is that astrology has been around for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And also a lot of different cultures have different forms of astrology. Yep. In Greek, there's Hellenistic astrology, there's Chinese astrology, there's modern astrology now after the revival, but there was also medieval astrology, and that was practiced in different places, Babylonian astrology. It's been around for a really long time. I feel like a lot of people are tapping back into the knowledge and just bringing new life into it, and it's been pretty cool to be a part of that.
So I also, it's Dr. James, right? We also had another guest, Dr. James, and after the show, we were talking about astrology. And, me and him were going back and forth a little bit, and it was great to dive deep into the layers of astrology and how he, like his understanding of it or perspective of it differed from what I was saying, because allegedly I was speaking about astronomy and not astrology. So we did some digging together in the moment. And if you actually look at the etymology of both of those words, at one point in time, astrology and astronomy were synonymous.
Absolutely.
They were used interchangeably. It wasn't until throughout time people started to make the mistake and try to, and got confused about exactly what astrology was and started to, form a different definition and understanding of it. But fun fact for those, astrology, the zodiacs were actually on their table of contents in their science. What's it called? Textbook? Well, I don't want to say textbook, but in the science table of contents at one point in time at the bottom.
The periodic chart?
The periodic chart, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The astrology, zodiac signs were actually on that first.
Well, believe it or not, you're right. Astronomy and astrology are the same thing. And astrology actually has a lot of mathematical components that a lot of people don't realize. And when it comes to astrology, it's really important to realize that you do need that knowledge of astronomy, because you do need to know about planetary speed, different rates. There's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to understanding the archetypes of the planets and how they can affect other people, but also their basic nature as well.
So let's guess your zodiac.
Okay. So.
I'll let the one who needs a hint go first.
Well, I know you're not a Sagittarius.
Yeah, we know you're not Sagittarius. That was easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that easy?
Because you didn't get excited with us.
It's true.
Yeah.
I could have been psyching you out, but that's true.
Yeah.
We're
Us three, we're in a zone.
So when's your birthday?
What?
She didn't make any exclusions about
What the hint could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give you a month?
No, there's only two options from there. No, please don't ruin it. All right, then let me go first. Virgo.
Incorrect.
Can I get the month?
You can guess the month.
That buzzer for taboo.
Can I get what half of the year?
That's so
Is it in the
smart, because
birth?
I almost asked you, like, do you want to guess like what time of the year? I was going to say my birthday hasn't passed yet.
Okay, second half. In the birds?
Who?
Oh, birds like November,
I just said birds. Okay.
December.
I have that in my chart, but no.
Okay, that was your guess. How many guesses?
God damn, she had like, bro, what the fuck is this?
I asked questions and I made one guess.
Well, she made
were
it
supposed to
easier for
get
you
one hint.
guys.
Yeah. So it's up to us.
But now you got to remember everything she just
She just
asked.
said the birds, the second half. God damn, it's only.
See your right hand.
Shut up.
It has to be June, July, or August.
He's just making some shit. Cancer.
I'm gonna say August.
No.
Is not the answer I was guessing. So.
Well, she already said Leo, and I said no.
And I said Virgo.
Yeah, so that's
August.
August.
All of August, beginning and end.
Also, had I known that, I would have said get rid of that. I would have said June or July.
Cancer.
I'm a Cancer.
I just said that, guys.
Yeah.
You only had 10 guesses.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard the whispers.
Please get my answer on camera, please.
And you're
I mean, well, I'm the one that did all the deductive reasoning. So, I mean.
So say Cancer.
I asked very important questions, so I feel
Well,
like
the
I
birds,
got.
though, you're right, the birds
I
I
go
knew
nice.
you were
Yeah,
a
the
summer
birds.
baby. That was
For
facts.
sure.
I knew that was.
You could tell?
Listen, I'm
the
a psychic.
highlight.
I'm a psychic. You know.
I'm a Cancer sun, Gemini moon, and rising. So that's my big 3.
But people don't. Can you explain that? Because I would imagine that most people may not know what that means.
Of course. So the sun is basically, your soul, basic form of identity. It's very much so what people identify as. Whenever you say, what's your zodiac sign or what's your birthday, that's where the sun was when you were born. So that's a great way to identify. Everyone will mainly always know what their sun sign is. It depends if you were born at the end or the beginning of the season, though, because depending on your birth time, you might be one or the other. A lot of people don't realize that.
He's
But
a Capricorn.
Let me
You're the
ask my
Capricorn?
mama what time
Thank
I was
you.
born.
yes. So I had a friend that was a Pisces like his whole life. And then he looked into his chart. He got a professional reading. Then he found out he was an Aries, 0 degrees Aries, which is like right at the beginning. That's really like inception, that energy, that 0 degrees Aries. And we're kind of in that right now.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So right now, Saturn, which rules structure, discipline, how people are building, that's 0 degrees Aries. It might be 1 at this point. But Neptune, it's 0. And Neptune is also around that point as well. So this is aesthetics. This is dreams, illusions. A lot of people are in the process of really building things and trying to bring things into fruition. But it's really important to not overdo it. And this also has to do with relationships too, believe it or not. So that Neptunian energy, it's like deep, compassionate love. And having Saturn so close to it, it might make it a little bit difficult for you to feel like you can get what you want, or maybe you feel like you need to focus on other things. It kind of obscures things, but it also gives you the ability to look at things a little bit more clearly. But with that Aries energy, it's definitely putting a lot of pressure and impulse towards wanting to make things happen, but really needing to make sure that you are balanced and you're organized and bringing those things into life.
Do you date with astrology in mind?
It's so crazy. Since becoming like a professional astrologer, I haven't really been dating.
Because you realize that they all
Are you
suck.
scared of people now?
That's what I would think.
Like, all you guys fucking suck. Like,
No, it's just the timing hasn't been right. But I will say when I was learning astrology and I was dating, I was talking about it all the time when it comes to the people I was dating. I used to be really into CoStar, not so much anymore. Once you get to a certain point, it's an
app.
astrology app.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that was such shade. But go ahead.
There are a lot of different apps that are really cool, but CoStar doesn't always give you the full information. Sometimes there's misinformation. Sometimes it can bring about certain fears within people as well, depending on certain things that they're putting out. Those are things that I've seen happen or come up, allegedly people have told me about. But wait, what was the question? Dating.
Yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to dating, prior to becoming a professional astrologer, I used to talk about it all the time. Like I used to tell people like that I was dating to like look up their charts, and I used to use CoStar to see that compatibility. And it was really interesting. But once I became an astrologer, you get such a deeper understanding of how synastry compatibility works. And you can actually put two people's charts together in different ways. So you can put one on top of the other to get an idea of the compatibility, certain areas of other people's lives that are being affected or activated. You can also put two charts together and make one whole chart, which would be two people as one, which is called a composite chart.
Which one is there one that's more accurate or preferred?
I would say the one that's more popular would be the synastry chart. They're both pretty accurate. I would say the composite chart is more like two people as one, like how will this couple show up publicly? How will they deal with, crisis or conflict, things of that nature. But when you look at the synastry, it kind of paints a picture of, Are you going to add to somebody's finances? Or are you going to take away from their finances? Are you going to bring more joy into their lives? Or are you going to make it difficult for them to do the things that they want to do? So it's really good to look at both, in my opinion, but I feel like it depends on the situation or like what you're trying to look at.
As far as the men that you were interested in, were they already into astrology, or did you kind of introduce them to that?
I would say introduce them to it. I will admit I am bisexual, and I did have a girlfriend, and I introduced her to her chart. It was very funny because she's a Capricorn. It's interesting because before I kind of took a break from dating, I kept attracting earth sign people. And believe it or not, what you attract is sometimes either something that you lack or something that you need. And earth signs is balance, stability, structure, practicality, definitely people that'll help you get your stuff together. And I feel like I don't have a lot of earth in my chart, not I feel I don't have that much earth in my chart. So it's nice to have that balance. But I did introduce them to astrology, or at least certain parts of it. I will say some of them didn't really care to hear about it, but they were interested because I was interested.
What are earth signs?
So that is Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo.
Yeah. Then the fire signs would be Sag,
I think you
Leo,
were a
Aries.
fire sign, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then air sign is Gemini, Libras, and Aquarius.
Are you saying what are they as far as like what do they mean? Or
I'm just
It's like
what
the
are
four
they?
elements.
Okay.
The four elements.
That's the signs are.
So
Oh, and
is
the
that
water-
earth, wind, and fire?
And water.
And
water
water.
is Pisces,
Oh, okay.
Scorpio,
And Cancer.
Yeah.
Given Avatar.
Yeah, all the elements. It comes together.
Was there ever a time that you dated someone, looked at their chart, and went against the chart and still decided to date them?
I would say it happened after the fact where it's like I was already involved with them and I saw the chart and it's like, oh, this isn't that great, but I'm just going to keep going.
Okay.
And it
Because
Doing what you already know is not a good
And it
thing.
didn't
Yeah,
work.
but do you put all of your faith in the charts though?
That was before I became a professional astrologer. And I would say free will exists. And also sometimes you have to allow things to play out. I will say that usually things do come into fruition. Like there's certain times where like I'll see the astrology, what's going on. It's like, oh, I don't think I should do that, but I do it anyways. And then, fuck around and find out. I found I should not have did it. What was your sign? I never got it.
Yeah, you did.
Gemini.
Oh, yes, Gemini. You're right. Oh, so yes, Gemini.
Big Gemini.
And then Scorpio moon, and then Pisces rising.
Yeah.
Do you know all your stuff?
Yeah.
He has a chart.
Dumb,
he has
dumb,
a,
and dumber.
He has a
Shut up.
What'd you say?
Dumb, dumb, and dumber.
Is this something with you with
we're not
Sagittarius?
like, I have
All right, so read my chart. Here we go.
I feel like you were just
I'm
waiting
trying
the
to
whole
understand
time
all
for
these
that.
houses.
Here you go.
Okay.
I just asked my daddy what time I was born. My mama taking too long.
I want to look at the circle.
Okay, give it to me. I got you. That I took a
Who got
screenshot
the
for it.
Who got the
But is
birth
that the app?
certificate?
Well, this is the one
Am
that this is the one that she
Time's
don't
not
These
on.
like.
websites too.
It's not
What
on
time I
there.
was born?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. To look up the chart.
No, I want to know what
This
time
is
I
the
was
circle.
born. I know it was during the day.
I-
Oh, the phone's upside
It
down.
wasn't at night.
Yeah.
Okay, Rico. Oh, I like this. So it shows that you're it shows that you're a Virgo rising, and you have your moon in Libra, and you also have Jupiter in Libra. So Jupiter is abundance, it's luck, it's opportunity, but it's also perspective. And for you, you feel like it's possible to kind of have it all as long as you know how to manage it.
That's what I do. Nipsey Hussle said it best. You can have it all. It's just about your reason. By the way,
Yeah.
I just found out that the number one zodiac sign with the most billionaires are Libras.
It's actually funny because I know Kim
My grandma was a
Kardashian is
Libra.
one.
She went a billionaire.
There's only like there's only
That's
300
why you gotta
of
look
them.
at the chart.
I'm joking.
You gotta look at the whole chart.
Aaron.
You gotta look at the whole chart, but you also have your moon there. So it definitely shows that you can have your emotions on your sleeves, but you also know how to use it to your advantage. Definitely good at talking to people, relating to people, building relationships, but you do have a square between your Venus and your Mars. So Venus in Aries, Mars in Cancer. So this energy isn't bad, but it can be hard to work with because you might like somebody.
What do you mean?
Then you might see somebody else, and it's like, oh, let me see what this person has got, going on.
Relationship wise.
Yes.
You need to give that phone back to him.
That's fine. So basically, I can replace.
We're talking about relationships. Not even. It's just sometimes you might
Insatiable.
You might just give up on certain things a little bit quicker than others. But also when it comes to your money, there's definitely this ambition. People might say no, and you have the vision, so you're just going to keep going after it until you have it.
That's about right. Always win.
So can I play devil's advocate for a second? And so for the people that don't believe in any of this,
good luck.
So for the people that don't believe in any of this, some of them have said, can't you say these general statements about every sign?
Not with a chart.
No, because, well, I would say if you're looking at just the sun sign, yes, there are different things that you can say, but you do need to look at the whole chart because every chart is unique. Nobody has the same chart, and it speaks to different components of how somebody looks at life, their personality, the type of people they might attract, their children, spouse, the type of jobs that they might work. Sun sign astrology is like the equivalent of maybe looking up your symptoms on like WebMD. You need to go a little bit deeper to really understand what's going on.
So nobody has the same
I did
chart?
self-diagnose myself off WebMD, so
I do that. I do that all the time.
Not gonna lie.
Okay, but what if like two people were born?
It has to be the same day, same time, same place.
Yeah.
That is possible.
I would
Like
say
what same place? Is like same city, same. How does
City,
the locale work?
so. Even if it might be a couple minutes off, when it comes to a chart, there are specific things like subdivisions. This is like a little bit more deeper into astrology, but it really shows a lot of more specific differences. These people might have certain themes in life or, similar trends that they'll experience in their lifetime, but there will still be like a difference. And even if somebody was born on the same day and it could be like hours difference or even minutes difference, their ascendant sign will still be in a different degree. So one person could be like a 0 degrees Aries rising.
How do you know that?
You look at the chart based on the time.
No, because think about it. In a hospital, you have multiple babies being born simultaneously. So if they're born essentially same place, same time, what are the things that make them different?
So when it comes to the degree, it really kind of helps you identify how somebody is different. Because even if it is off by 1 degree, it's still very different because of where the house cusps lie in astrology. But then also, like I mentioned, even though there are 12 signs, you can break those signs up even smaller into different parts. Mm-hmm. And when you look at that, you'll notice that it's different.
Okay.
So it just keeps going deeper and deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
Down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. So you can break them up into 3, you can break them up into 12. There's, a couple different ways that are like unequal parts. It's just different ways of being able to look at the same thing, but to really see how somebody's unique and also how they can use some of their qualities to their advantage or, to be able to work on, some of their disadvantages.
Yep. All business that I do on a day-to-day basis, especially if it's somebody new, first thing I ask is, when is your zodiac sign? I don't even play about it. No offense, Alan, if I'm doing business with a Capricorn, depending on their position and role in that business, I won't do it. But if it is something that I feel like will suit them, like micromanaging or, some type of like general manager type of work, then I could be like, all right, I can understand it. Or maybe even an assistant, because they're very good at that. But if they're like the boss, I won't even touch it.
What's your reasoning for that, though? Because you don't have the same knowledge of astrology as her.
Are you crazy?
Where you're reading someone's whole... If you're generalizing... Capricorns...
She got a certificate.
How do you actually become a professional astrologer?
So you can take courses, you can take classes. You could also just learn and, self-study. There's different courses, workshops, books, people you can learn under, different workshops. There's different ways for you to learn and to keep going. But I would say having a teacher is definitely a great way to have a more consistent form of knowledge and to have more information with how to really work with a chart and work with clients.
Is there one, or is there a more credible
Type of astrology?
or I don't know if you would call it a school or some type of trade, but is there one that stands out more than the others?
I would say not really. There are certain schools that are a little bit, I would say, more regulated compared to others. Like there is Kepler College, which is, different certified astrologers or astrologers that, have been working with astrology for years. They come together and they teach other students. There is also different organizations that have classes as well, like ISAR. Aya is one too for young astrologers, but there is also, oh my God, I'm drawing such a blank.
It happens. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of them.
Kepler was one of them.
Yeah, Kepler College.
Where is it?
So it is online based, but I think that it might be in Washington, but I would have to check.
State or the DC?
State.
Oh, okay. I can see it being up there.
Interesting.
I would say the West Coast is definitely more popular when it comes to astrology than the East Coast.
More like granola people,
Free.
I would say people that are definitely tapped in with spirituality more.
That's where I got into mine through California women.
Oh, what's yours?
So I was going to ask you about your Reiki practitioner. So are you attuned as well?
Yes.
Okay. How many courses did you take? I'm sorry.
I took 2. So I took level 1 and 2 at a weekend, and then I took the Holy Fire level 3.
That's what I want to do. I want to be.
Oh,
Being a
That's one of my goals.
Reiki practitioner, that's something you can study?
yeah. You would just need a teacher that can attune you, and you would basically be a part of like that lineage of Reiki.
Is that like a coaching tree? Something like that?
It is like a tree.
Okay.
I thought they had special abilities.
You do have healing abilities through Reiki, but it's really important to learn the principles and the origins of Reiki as well.
Okay. So you also said that you were psychic.
Yes.
Do you know if Diddy's going to get acquitted?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know because I'm not tapping into that. But I would say looking at his chart, there are a lot of interesting things that are at play right now. I haven't looked at it recently, but I don't know if he's going to be acquitted.
You wasted
Trump
your
might pardon
psychic
him.
question on Diddy?
That's Alan's question.
That was Alan's question. We read a phone.
Do you see Jay-Z going to prison?
Y'all don't care about yourselves. Y'all y'all want to know about these people.
Oh my God. He will be caught. But that's besides the point.
Am I getting married, girl? Do I get pregnant?
Show your hands.
I want to see your chart, but I do feel like the opportunity is definitely there, but you have to be patient.
What?
She's not.
I'm not.
I don't read palms.
Okay.
No, you do have to be patient. With you having a Scorpio moon, you definitely want somebody that's protective. You want to feel appreciaed,
Too much.
but you do.
Shut up while I'm getting spoken to, please.
You want somebody that's willing to fight for you, but that's also has this level of privacy that won't like have your business out there, but will also like love you in public. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I just said that to myself in the car.
Okay.
She is a psychic.
So
I will say I do have moments where I'll talk about certain things and people are like, oh, I just said that, or I was just thinking that.
So what you just told her, couldn't somebody else want that and not have a Scorpio rising?
That is true. So a lot of people don't realize that there are different patterns. So somebody could have maybe a certain placement in astrology and somebody else could have a different placement, but depending on where it is in the house or what planet's making a relationship to it, somebody can have that type of energy too.
I'm still playing devil's advocate. That's the thing.
It's
So
fine.
we all want somebody that will protect us and not make us look stupid. So
What?
There it is. That's a Rico fact.
Cut that out, please.
No, don't cut it out.
I'm just saying.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
When you want something, you tend to get or align with the things that you want. When you truly don't want something, you tend to have resistance, friction, or distance. So if something is, I mean, there could also be like trauma that can also play into. But if there's something that is happening often, like you'll see a woman who may have had a domestic violence relationship 4 different times with 4 different men, I'm not going to sit here and argue that she truly wants somebody to protect her, or maybe protect her from everybody else. Maybe, I'm not sure if that's what avenue would go. But if you have a pattern of doing something, and if I take out the fact that it could be trauma related, that means you might not want the same thing as the next person in terms of everybody wanting somebody to protect them. Some people want women that are not funny. Some people want women that are funny. I don't want a woman that's funny. Like, you know what I'm saying?
One thing I will say is that when it comes to astrology, sometimes it tells us what our fate and our fortune is. And sometimes people do experience misfortunate things. And sometimes as the planets are moving, different things are being activated. Certain themes in a chart might keep reappearing. And unfortunately, sometimes people do experience abuse. Sometimes people experience, happiness within relationships. Sometimes people experience serial cheaters. There are just different things that tend to happen. And unfortunately, some people have those experiences.
And
but I would say
chart. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That can be the chart, but then also there's psychological things as well. And that's a little bit different. But in the chart, you can definitely see different patterns.
So there's patterns in a chart where you can get a serial cheater, an abuser, and just all around bad dating experience.
I'm not saying that it could be like that every time, but there are some people that do experience difficulty in dating, and that can be seen in the chart.
So I'm just making sure I'm grasping this. No Diddy.
He's wearing pink.
What?
So what happened? So somebody's chart essentially could have like a moment or season where there's going to be a lot of unfortunate events and they can become susceptible to them.
That is very true, actually.
So understanding.
When it comes to like Pluto transits, that can be very difficult. So Pluto is transformation, transmutation, but it can also be trauma. It could be abuse, certain things that have to do with addiction. It can also be illnesses too. So, let's just say if somebody has their Mercury, which is, the planet of health, communication, it could be experiencing what's called a bad aspect. So planets forming relationships with each other. So they could have maybe like a square. So that'll basically be challenges. So there could be maybe challenges with, being able to use their voice because they went through a traumatic experience. Or it could be maybe experiencing something traumatic and not being able to talk about it. Of course, there's different things, but that's just an example.
Can you make sure there's no squares in my chart?
Squares aren't bad. Squares are definitely opportunities for action to like get things done, but it is challenges, it's uncomfortable experiences, it's conflict, but it makes things more exciting.
My square is in monogamy.
I don't know. I have to check.
That's what you said before.
That could happen based off of...
My square was that there was challenges with basically not being bored and seeing what else is out there.
That is something that can happen with your energy, but it also means other things. I think I said you had Venus in Aries and then Mars in Cancer, and it's forming a square. So you're a Virgo rising. I'm going to use whole sign. There's different ways of looking at charts and different house system. So the 12 houses can be broken up in different ways. I'm going to use whole sign because I'm doing this in my head. But you being a Virgo rising, you have Mars in your 11th, and then you have...
You want to see it?
I'm going to try without it. Okay. So Mars in your 11th in Cancer, and then you have Venus in Aries in your 8th. So it does show like wanting to have deep connections, but then also maybe having difficulties with maybe your goals when it comes to certain relationships. I will also say intimacy might be a little touchy for you sometimes when it's like, how much can I show? Or maybe, going too fast compared to like what somebody's like looking for. But you also are really great at, being attentive in a relationship. But there are moments where you might want to see what else is out there because you might feel like there could be more opportunities. There could definitely be certain moments where it's like, this is great, but like, could there be better?
All the time. That's my whole life.
See?
But I actually said it here. I always got better. Every time I was like, oh, level up.
Let me take a look at you.
So can a chart be used and say, oh, I cheated because of the chart?
So a lot of people like to try to use astrology to not be accountable. And I would say astrology is one of the highest forms of accountability because it's like, this is what it is. So you have to be aware of it. But it can show temptation. There's free will. So it could show that like cheating is a potential, but somebody has a free will to cheat or not. But sometimes they do fall into that, temptation. There's a lot of things in life, especially in astrology, that has duality. So there's like light attributes and there's dark attributes. So you can kind of, maybe fight the temptation or you could, fall into it.
The chart got me. You could say that.
I wouldn't say the chart got you, but I would say you got you. Because like I said, it's the accountability.
Okay.
Because you knew it was coming there.
Like you know that like something could happen, but you succumbed to it. And also charts can reflect breakups too. I would say there is that faded energy of like, you know what, this person will cheat. And this is the aftermath of it. Maybe they both go their separate ways or maybe they'll stay together and try to work it out.
Have you ever had a situation where you were involved with someone? I'm going to say somebody, but it was someone. You were involved with someone and they were on board with you reading the charts and everything at first. And then they were just completely against it because they felt like it was ruling your relationship?
I would say I did have a moment where I was trying to introduce somebody to astrology and I was showing them like, hey, look at all these things. And I think that it felt like a lot because they got a little bit uncomfortable with knowing too much. But it's like, it is your life, so you're living it anyways. I think that they got scared of seeing like the ability of spirituality to predict and to really understand somebody at a deeper level and to observe that. Mm-hmm. It can be scary for some people. Like, it's like, how, like, is this predestined? Like, what's going to happen next? It's how some people feel. And even though that astrology is an amazing prediction tool, people do have the ability to make their own decisions. But astrology, will give you an idea of what's going to happen.
So free will could be used anytime.
It can be.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hard, though.
Question. I assume because you believe in astrology that perhaps you believe in like luck and opportunity and like how those things come together.
Manifestation?
Perhaps. I don't know. But can like good or bad luck like outweigh what is on the chart and what it says?
I would say there's different cycles and different moments of people's lives where they might not have as many opportunities, or maybe somebody has, a chart that they tend to attract a lot of really good things, but they could be experiencing maybe something difficult happening that could be obscuring that energy. So it's very much so possible. The planets don't stop moving and they affect our charts every moment. There's also different ways of seeing what people are experiencing without taking into account, where the planets are. But typically the planets will activate certain things in terms of our timing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what about soul ties? How does the chart help determine that?
Karmic things. So there are definitely karmic things that'll show up in the chart. So Saturn, the planet of karma, lessons, karmic debts, retribution. When certain people might have, one person's Venus maybe conjunct, which is like within 0 to 10 degrees, like very close to each other. Somebody's Saturn. It does show that it might be a karmic relationship. And depending on other factors, like they were meant to meet. They were meant to have this experience with each other through, whatever the relationship is. And sometimes, certain things might not always be relationships, romantic relationships, but I feel like depending on how charts are, it'll show that people are meant to be together. But I would say there are different factors, like what's called the lunar nodes. So there are 2 points on the moon. It operates on an elliptical. The north node is the head of the dragon. South node is the tail of the dragon. The north node tends to talk about the energy that we're moving towards, things that we are meant to experience either in your lifetime or depending on where the nodes are, at the moment, for a year and a half. The south node, it's things that you're supposed to release, things that you already know. And it also is a karmic energy. It shows, things that might be predestined, things that tend to be, magnetic or that attract each other. And if somebody might have a planet that is forming a relationship with somebody's south node, it'll show that there might be like a karmic tie. Like this is a certain dynamic that they'll just play out, over lifetimes, or they're going to continue to play out during this lifetime.
Okay.
So do you also study Chinese zodiacs as well?
No, not that much. I am into it, but not that deep. I'm a tiger.
You're a tiger? Okay. I don't know too much about it. Like so here's my goal. My goal is to basically figure out if there's some type of alignment with everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Like numerology, your Chinese zodiac, your I guess, I don't know what you would call it, astrology as well. And that'd be kind of cool if you can actually know what type of people to look for that you would probably, typically have a better outcome with.
You definitely can. I have other friends that like stack, different spiritual modalities on top of each other to get more information about different things. You 100% certainly can predict what's going to happen or to understand your relationship with somebody by looking at, different spiritual modalities across each other. I would say some people, they just need to find what they want. I love astrology and I do a lot of other amazing things. Some people aren't really into astrology, but they might be into human design or, different other, modalities, but they are all connected and they all give a lot of information when it comes to what people can experience, the type of people they should be with, or the type of energies that they'll attract.
So we've got like an interesting video, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it through your lens.
You have a Jupiter moon square.
Or not?
Which means you
I was
communicate
just trying to
bad.
get my phone. I just wanted to know if there was any.
When you see someone, do you get like an instant feeling and like, is there like an instant data download? I always wondered that with like people that are into astrology.
So that would be more psychic abilities than astrology. And I will say sometimes when I am around certain people, I'll feel certain things, but not always. And there's like different types of psychic abilities. So like there's like clairsentience, which is like that feeling. And those would be the type of people that would like get that. And then there's like people that are clairvoyant, like they may have visions. People that are clairaudient, they may hear messages or get messages through music and sounds and stuff. I know how that sounds.
Sounds like schizophrenia to me.
I know what you mean, but there are some people that can listen to a song and they'll be able to deliver messages based off of, things that may be coming through the song. I've seen it before.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all streaming platforms, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace. Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for you to.
Sorry. That's how I'm usually close on. And we would like to thank our astrologer for coming in today.
Thank you.
Lots of good info.
No, this was actually really good. Like,
I appreciate that.
Really interesting. Oh, and just let them know one more time where they can find you, your social handles, and anything else you have coming up, any events that you're doing.
Absolutely. So my name is Benedicatta. You can find me at BCLAASTRO on X, Instagram, BCLA ASTRO LLC on YouTube. I have an event that I'm going to be doing in Long Branch with Self-Care Social and Babes in Business. It's going to be Waves and Wellness, I believe. So if you want to, catch a vibe at the beach, get a reading, I do offer one-on-one readings. So you can book me privately, in person, and virtually. or you can have me come to your event. I offer private events, brand activations, birthday parties, baby showers, just about anywhere you'd want entertainment and for your guests to have a memorable experience. Call me if you want to have something be impactful and make some real change in your lives and your guests' lives. Thank you so much for having me.
Love it.
Yes,
Thank you for having me. Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you
We loved
guys.
having you today on this
Thank you.
episode. Okay, well, guys, catch us on the next episode. Bye.
Peace. Bye.